Hello, everyone.
Hey everyone, hey Sammy.
Yeah, hi, Gabby. Welcome, everyone, at a new episode of the Global AI Notes. But this time we're doing something different. We're not just inviting some speaker, we're going to recap what actually has been discussed half an hour ago. We had the Azure OpenAI spring announcements. What's your first thought about it?
I was expecting, well, about a couple of days ago when they announced they were going to do the OpenAI announcements tonight, I was expecting a Battle GPT model to be announced, perhaps a GPT-5. There were rumors about more interactive on your phone. You know, you'd be able to use it on your phone to interact with people. So I was listening to the rumors around me, and I was expecting exciting things. However, today, I think it was yesterday, There was some news, there was some leaks around, do not expect GPT-5 or any other things. It's going to be something even more exciting.
Well, maybe we have a quick look on what's actually going on Twitter,
Yeah.
where we see quite some people who are, well, we'll just pick one person and see what he's been. He had there's like a Twitter post that these are the best 10 leaks
Yeah.
that I've found. So let me share this one. So this, let me do like that. Back to the stage, zoom in a bit. So this is from Alvaro Cintas. He made like quite a nice list of different kinds of tweets that were sent out. So we have number one, having phone calls inside of ChatGPT. If you think about what we saw, we're getting close.
Yeah.
Uh, voice assistant, again, quite close. Context connectors for ChatGPT, linking to Google Drive, OneDrive, that we did not see today.
No.
Announce search. They'll announce no more knowledge cut-offs. That's not something we saw today.
No. No.
New model namings for
That's pretty
L, for
close.
auto, for odd. Well, somehow you could say we have a new name.
Yeah.
Then 6, dramatic lowering of price. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
ChatGPT will get access to GPT-4, but with quota limits. Yeah. No GPT-5, but better model for GPT-4. This guy was quite close, Dave Lee.
Very close, right? Very close.
That's analysis, Dave Lee. GPT-4 wording, I think that's not so important. And then we have, okay, this is just a list of different things. Strategic collaboration, they didn't really say anything about that. New multimodal AI that can both talk to you and recognize objects.
Pretty close.
Quite correct. And then conversational mode, I think that's what we saw. So there's so many, it all started here, isn't it? OpenAI said, okay, just a couple of days ago, we will do a live stream. And then it all started asking questions. If you go to Sam's tweet, Sam Altman, and I'm not sharing the correct screen anymore.
No, yeah.
But just share my whole screen instead. Entire screen. So we have this message, not GPT-5, not a search engine. So this already said quite some things, but yeah, people were still asking, what is actually coming? So what came, Gavita?
Well, we had the GPT-4 Omni, which is, I think if you looked at the 10 top predictions there, I'd say it covers 50% of, is it going to be the next Siri, for example? Is it going to be multimodal, for example, as well? That was one of the predictions. And if you look at the GPT-4 Omni, it does multimodality. So it's technically a different model. It's faster than GPT-4. It's free to everyone as well, including the free users. So lots of things were covered by the new model.
Yeah, I think it's good since you start talking about what is free and what is not free and the speed. So if you look at the numbers, GPT-4o is 2 times faster than GPT-4 Turbo.
Yep.
It will be half the price of the Turbo. The rate limit will be multiplied by 5, also first compared to GPT-4 Turbo. So that's already quite a nice improvement that we have.
Yep.
And then, free, exactly, if you use ChatGPT web application, then it's indeed, you will be able to make use of those, that model, but of course with a limited amount versus compared to the paid customers.
Yeah.
So that's already quite nice. For me, the biggest trigger was what I started with, like, we are bringing a desktop application. I was like, huh?
I was going to ask you that question. What did you think of the desktop application announcement, Sammy?
Yeah, that was for me like, why? Why would you bring in a desktop application? And they just showed you a little bit,
Mm, yep.
and then afterwards, they actually showed the reason why they created the
Yeah.
desktop application, which was quite impressive.
Yeah.
Now instead, because it actually can make you see what's going on in your screen, and it's easier to paste in screenshots, so it's assists you in understanding charts and understanding what code has been written. So somehow you could say it's a bit of a competitor of GitHub Copilot, a little bit.
I mean, yeah, you don't need the desktop to do, such things anyway. I mean, from the demo that we were watching, you could have your camera facing code and it will be able to infer the code and give you a quick summary in terms of what your code's trying to achieve, what you should be doing, how you can improve it, loads of recommendation at the back of it, right? So I guess maybe the desktop version is just another way of um, giving users an option to use the GPT-4 Omni or GPT-4o.
Yeah, yeah, true. But for the moment, only available for Mac and
Yes,
not for Windows yet.
that's true.
And I
Yeah,
wouldn't be shocked that there is some reasons for that.
I am not sure what the reasons. I really have no idea. I thought it would be available for Windows first, and then it'll probably translate to the Mac. But no.
Yeah, well, we'll see. Um, we just got suddenly the update that one of our guests will not join because he saw it was a different time zone.
That's
We were
fine.
going to have Marco Casalina in our call today. He's the head of AI at Microsoft, so he might have been able to give us an answer on that, but we'll keep that for another time. So let's go over maybe the different kinds of demos that we saw today. Um, let's start with the audio, the how do
Yep.
they call it? The conversational analytics.
That's it. Yeah, well, it's real time conversational analytics, right? So, and I think the speed that they were quoted were quite impressive. So it's a lot quicker than what you can do now with the voice activation. You can actually activate voice now with ChatGPT, but you can't, for example, interrupt um, ChatGPT currently. But from the demo, it looks pretty impressive that you can have a real time conversation with your phone and it can understand your emotions as well. I mean, what did you think of that?
I was seriously impressed. My wife was just looking a little bit at it also, and she's like, "It's even better than human. I can interrupt it, and it will just stop immediately."
I mean, yeah, I mean, I was just thinking of the number of applications, right, that you can easily integrate that feature and the numerous benefits as well that it can bring. So my mind was just racing in terms of look at the travel agent, for example, giving real time advice, customer service, understanding sentiments, and if you can understand if a customer is not happy about things, it can change his emotions in an appropriate manner to appease situations as well. Yeah, so many applications.
Yeah, I initially was thinking also the way they were discussing how it became better because initially when you use speech, it
Yep,
first needs to be moved and converted into text.
yep,
So you already lose the emotions that are in your voice. And then it takes time to move it into the GPT prompts. So that's all things that you're of course missing. And now
yep,
that's not necessary anymore. It just does it immediately. So that's pretty impressive. And
yep.
specifically the timing, how fast it responds.
Yeah,
Um, GPT-4 Turbo was already quite
fast.
better than the
Yep,
4, but I'm really looking forward to try out now purely for chat because now again it also makes sure that the price has been divided in two.
yep,
GPT-4 for chat was quite expensive, so I'm looking forward what the price setting will be on that part.
yeah,
Well, we know the price, but yeah, we'll see how that's
yep,
gonna be. Yeah, we have of course What I was impressed also, they said it will also remove the noise and the sound, which it means also the quality of the models behind it are much better, and then
Yep.
also multi-speaker.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's
The other thing
why.
that was mentioned as well is opening it up to, was it 50 new languages or over 50 languages? So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that they improved it for those 50 languages, indeed.
Yep.
And then I think then yeah, they also shared us with some numbers of the amount of people who are actually using ChatGPT. We're over 100 million users, which is very impressive
Yeah, that's
because
pretty cool.
we complain sometimes that it might be a bit slow. But if you're running this for 100 million people, that's not a
Yeah,
small
it's a,
application anymore. I mean, at
yeah,
the end of the session, they were thanking NVIDIA and other partners
that's a,
for the
yeah,
hardware that they are delivering. I
yeah,
can imagine the
yeah.
servers that they need to have to be able to run this thing.
To cope with that volume, yeah, you need huge infrastructure, right?
Yeah, yeah. And then they showed us the market also. Oh, that was also new that the GPT store now is also available for free users. And there's
Yeah, that's
already
true.
1 million users who actually created an app. I was like,
Applications,
okay,
yeah.
that's a lot. How do I find back what I actually need? Do I use ChatGPT to ask which app I need?
I think it's, for me, it just comes across as democratization of what ChatGPT is creating, right? So it's just allowing more and more people to use its service, and I think it's a good thing. It's a very good thing.
Yeah, no, fully agree with. Then we go to vision.
Yep.
So in vision, yeah, let's go back to voice because there was one thing that was what I really liked was how he was doing those breathing exercises.
And how it could understand that he was breathing too quickly and then
Yeah,
reacted saying, "Hey, I think you've got to slow down a little here."
uh,
That's pretty cool, right? And the speed of how it was interacting, I thought that was pretty cool as well.
yeah. And then the bedtime story he was reading for, I think it was for Matt, was no from Barrett. Barrett.
Barrett, yeah, yeah.
Um, so he just asked to create like a bedtime story about love and a robot, and then he kept on asking how add more emotion,
Yes.
even add the create most craziest emotions that you can have added into your voice, and
Yeah.
it kept on doing that, which was
Yeah.
also it was funny to see.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to using it for my children. I don't have to read them stories anymore.
Well, there's this rumor going on that Apple is going to collaborate with OpenAI.
It's
If
a
that's
rumor,
the
though.
case,
It's a rumor.
it's the rumor. I was expecting maybe that they would say something about that.
Yeah,
But I would love to have Siri that being able that responsive and
yeah, that'd
being
be
able
pretty
to have
cool.
so much knowledge.
Yeah, yeah,
Because let's say it, to be honest, the voice assistants that we have right now on the smart speakers,
yeah.
they're crap.
Yeah, I think one thing, on the topic of voice, it was all they also mentioned that how the new GPT for all model can generate new voices, and immediately as a parent, I was thinking, right, what if it generates my voice to my kids, and that can be quite scary. So now I know there's a whole section of responsibility there, but for me, immediately I thought, in terms of responsible AI, what guardrails have been implemented to stop that from happening. So that'd be quite interesting for me to delve into a bit deeper and understand that. But if it's able to create new voices at the back of anything really, that's pretty exciting. But at the same time, you got to be responsible about it, because if it's misuse, then it can cause some serious damage.
True, true. I think it's good that okay, they also have their rules
Yeah,
and they also need to keep themselves to, for example, the EU AI Act and so on.
that's it.
And you cannot just use someone's voice and copy it.
Yeah.
But it might be an option that you added, because look at the new speech, text to speech. No, the neural voices that you have on Microsoft. You only
Yeah,
need
that's pretty cool.
15 seconds of your voice, and it sounds amazing good.
Very good. I think better than what I can do. Yeah, I've played
Yeah,
around with
I
that,
was
so
I
that's
was showing
amazing.
it to some kids from my children's school, and they were all like, "Hey, you can speak Arabic." Like, no, I can't. But they enjoyed it, and
Yeah,
it's just to show also the dangers of it, of
yeah,
course.
yeah,
Okay. So we have cheaper, faster, conversational, and part of multimodal is of course also video.
yep,
That brings us to the demos they showed us, and one was with the math equation, which was quite funny also, because initially it wanted to just immediately give an answer on it. It's like,
yep,
hold on,
yeah,
just explain me how I can do this.
yeah,
And that creates actually a better environment of also learning how do we want to get to know and understand. Again, for let's think about it, for our children, that's quite amazing. They just showed in their notebook from school is like, help me explain this.
yeah.
So you could actually make a GPT agent that says you cannot give the answer, you only need to help your children
Oh,
with
that's
getting
amazing idea.
understand what needs to be done.
Yeah,
Yeah. So our guest has arrived. So let's add him into the call.
nice.
Hey, everybody.
Good morning to you, Marco.
Morning,
Good
Marco.
morning, good evening to you, Sammy.
Now I
Wherever
want
you
to
are.
use the new GPT-4o model on your T-shirt to figure out what the answer is on the equation.
That's right. The answer is that this identity is true, actually. It's a surprising identity, I would say.
Did you watch the whole event, Marco?
I did not have time to watch the whole event. I did watch parts of it, but yeah, I have been, obviously, the build coming up. We've been had plenty of meetings to get ready for it and so on. So I've been in meetings all morning, but I had a pretty good idea of what was coming anyway. So, I kind of knew what they were going to show.
What was your initial thoughts when you saw the first demos?
Well, the first one that I watched was the one with Greg Brockman, where he made the AIs talk to each other, and he made one sing about the scene and stuff like that. And of course, I mean, you got to give him credit. I mean, OpenAI, like, they do a great job of capturing the public imagination. They did that with ChatGPT, and they're doing it again. And I definitely respect that. Now, when you think about how does that apply to business, right? You're probably not going to have one AI look at a scene and another AI singing about it in a business context. That's relatively unlikely. So, I mean, I think that a lot of that falls to us at Microsoft is like, okay, how do we take these tools that we now have, GPT-O or GPT Omni, and make it apply in a business context? What does that give us, and what does that give you, basically, that you can use? So anyway, I mean, I'm pretty excited about it. I mean, it comes also at a very interesting time too. If you really think about where we're at right now, the competitive situation is very different than it was a year ago, right? So like a year ago, you wanted to do anything with AI, your choices were GPT or GPT. And now it's different, right? There's all kinds of competitors out there. Google's doing their thing, and Meta's doing their thing, and Mistral's doing one thing, and we're doing stuff, right, ourselves. And so that's happening. And what's also simultaneously happening, the small model revolution is now underway with 5.3. And so that opens up these new and interesting possibilities for, an economy of scale that wasn't there before. And still simultaneously, the AI agents are on the rise, and AI agents and small models are friends, right? Because the idea is you can use these agents to devote some tasks to small models. And so, while it's really interesting that these large frontier models like GPT-O are pushing the boundary, and GPT-O is smaller too. I mean, relatively speaking, it's faster, it's smaller, so that's cool too. But it's still big, right? It's still something that must run in the cloud. It requires a supercomputer to run, all that stuff. And then we have 5.3, which I can run on my laptop. I mean, I literally run it here, and it runs fast on my laptop that can barely handle Microsoft Teams. So anyway, I mean, all of these things are happening all at the same time, and it's awesome. It also creates a bewildering array of options.
Totally agree. Now, what is your opinion, Marco, that the desktop app only came out for Mac?
And not
I
Windows.
mean, I don't know anything about that. Actually, I didn't register that until just now. You know, I miss my old MacBook Pro in some ways. No offense to my Surface Book Pro over here, which I'm sure is offended right now. But in any case, yeah, I don't know about that. I can't imagine. I mean, at the same time, Windows Copilot. I mean, I have, well, maybe you all don't have it, but I do have Windows Copilot here in my Windows. So, I mean, there's something more even that can be done there. So I didn't really get a chance to look at what exactly they're doing with the desktop version there. You know, it has interesting implications for things like privacy too, right? So like, what does it mean when it can see your screen and when it can manipulate things on your computer? And that's equally true of Windows as it is for Mac. But it also means that, I mean, you could potentially automate things that before would have been very difficult to automate. I mean, for me personally, like, for example, like I have my demo flow that I do, and I change it constantly, but in general, it requires me to open up like 15 tabs of stuff. And I have thought before, I should automate this. Like I can make just do this, automate it all, bring all the tabs to the right place. But, you know, I can do it. I can do it with Selenium or something like that, but it would take me a few hours to get that up and running, right? Maybe with a tool like this, I might be able to do it even quicker, much faster, actually, with that or with Windows Copilot when it comes to the broader audience. So anyway, all of these things, I mean, they're all happening at the same time. It's crazy.
No, true. I think what was most impressive in the whole demo is the speed of the conversational audio. How fast things go, that it's like it doesn't need to think about or transcribe what is being said anymore. It just does it immediately.
Right.
So something you think we will see soon in our co-pilots, that we can just start out.
I mean,
because
to some degree,
of course.
Right. I mean, you do see it in Copilots today. You're right. It's a two-pass system where it does a transcription and then it goes into the text. Actually, the truth is the transcription itself is actually very quick. So it happens anyway in just a couple of milliseconds. So, you know, that interface, it's not meaningfully different if we're being honest with each other, like in terms of like the reaction speed from compositionally transcribing to, you know, omni-model transcription. What omni-model transcription can bring though, I actually shouldn't call it omni-model transcription. It's something else now, right? But what an omni-model can bring, if you think about it in a contact center scenario, I mean, so think about this. Let's say that we're in a contact center and you know, you're talking to me and there's this recording. You know, a lot of people use AI now to do post-call analysis to determine how well is the agent doing and was the caller getting frustrated and stuff like that. And in a compositional scenario where you compose transcription to the AI, something gets lost in the translation there. That is, you know, you get this transcription, but maybe the customer was angry or frustrated. Maybe they said something in a huffy way, and the transcription would lose that nuance. Yeah. And there are whole companies like Cogito, by the way, that make their business on that. They do also tonal analysis to figure that stuff out, and they layer it on top of the transcription, and they compose it in a few different ways. Theoretically, at least. Now, this remains to be seen because I haven't had a chance to try this myself yet, but theoretically, an omni model can capture these kinds of nuances, that they can figure out not just what you're saying, but the tone of your voice and react to that. And whether that's true right now, I'm not really sure with GPT-4o. It probably will be true in the near future. And that opens up, you know, new possibilities, not just for contact center applications, but for lots of different applications where gaining the nuance of the tone of your voice can meaningfully impact the outcome.
Yeah, I think we saw it in the demo, didn't we, that it was able to detect emotions in your voice. But not only that, it was also able to detect your face reaction. So if you were happy, it was able to understand that you were smiling, for example.
Right. Yeah, challenging though, when you really think about that. I mean, when you think about emotion detection from face recognition, that has a lot of kind of responsible AI concerns associated with it. And I think that's something that we're going to work through. Just because you're smiling doesn't really mean you're happy, you know, for example. And so, you know, usually it does, but not always, right? In some cultures, people smile when they're ashamed. In fact, that is a thing in some cultures. And so people around the world make different facial expressions that actually mean different things. And there are some expressions that, so for example, I mean, in India, I worked in Bangalore for a long time, and this, right?
Yeah.
What does it mean exactly, right? I mean, that means something. I mean, it kind of means assent. It means like, yeah, okay,
Yeah.
But to an American, like, when I first got there, when I first started living in Bangalore, this is like 20 years ago, and people were doing this, and I'm like, is that a yes or a no? Like, what are you saying with that? It's kind of in between, the kind of figure eight shape that you make with your head. So my point is that facial expressions, gestures, and things like that are actually in culture. They are part of cultures, and they're different by culture. And that means that there's not a universal there. And we have to take that into account when we think about doing stuff like emotion detection.
Yeah, that's interesting. That's an interesting point. It'll be interesting to test it out, actually, see what he thinks.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think it'll be really interesting to see how that takes effect and what kinds of weird anomalies that causes on occasion.
Mm-hmm.
How we approach that. I mean, the truth is, even at Microsoft, we've had a vision team for a long time. We had an emotion detection model that we don't really release for exactly the reason that it can be ambiguous in certain cultures. So,
it's hard to train a model like that.
It is.
Yeah,
I mean, it's even hard for humans. Like I said, when I plunk myself, I mean, when you think about cultural differences in terms of gestures and face features or face expressions, even like dialects, right? I mean, so like I got to Bangalore, the year was 2004. I got to Bangalore and I was managing a team in Bangalore. And I sat down at my desk and somebody came to me and he goes, I have a doubt. And I was like, what do you mean you have a doubt? What are you doubting? Right. But of course, in Indian English, which is really a legitimate dialect of English, a doubt is a question. And so he wasn't doubting something. Right. He just had a question about something. Right. And so these kinds of things, like you even as a human, you need to adapt to them. I mean, fairly quickly, I figured it out. Oh, okay. I see what you're talking about. Right. But that's true everywhere you go, no matter where you go. There are these, even just in the English language, and certainly true of the Spanish language as well. Wherever you go, there are these different versions of language, different facial expressions, different sayings, things like that, these models are going to have to adapt to. Yeah. Out of the box, they might not,
True. Yeah, just as a language is different depending from where it's spoken, although it's the same language, it's the same with how people act or what kind of emotions they show. And then some areas people don't show any emotions at all, or some are showing way more emotions. It's for them it sounds like you're overreacting, although it's not like that. They're just like that. So it's indeed a tricky one.
Yeah.
Now, what I would like to have, Marco, is my Cortana speaker with this model.
Your Cortana speaker with this model. Is Cortana still a thing? I mean, I think Copilot is Cortana now.
So I want a Copilot speaker.
You're going to get your wish, actually. And a lot of the Azure AI team actually came from Cortana, as a matter of fact. So especially the speech and language teams, a lot of them came out of what was Cortana and this desire to make this a third-party available API, right? So it's like, hey, you know what? We use this for Cortana. Maybe Cortana stuck, maybe it didn't. But the fact is, we use those technologies again. And now, of course, we have tens of thousands of customers who are using these things every day.
I want to make this one work again.
That thing, oh boy, I didn't even know that existed. There's a Cortana device. Man,
it's a Harman Kardon speaker.
Wow, that was before my time at Microsoft. So I didn't see that.
Now it's a Bluetooth speaker.
Well, where this is pointing to, I mean, actually, if you look more globally at what's happening now, where this points to in the future, say a year from now, I think, is the notion of an always-on AI, which right now is a little bit of a pipe dream because, I mean, it does require a lot of resources to run and stuff like that. I mean, in Copilot as it is today, for example, or ChatGPT for that matter, you have to invoke it. Like you specifically have to go there and invoke it. I invoked Copilot just actually a few minutes ago as I was in a meeting talking about something that I needed to look up. But like, what if I was in that meeting and Copilot just piped up somehow? And it was like, okay, yeah, you're talking about, I can't even remember what it was I was talking about at this meeting, even though it was an hour ago. That's how fast things move in AI. You forget what happened an hour ago. Anyway, so I need AI just as a memory aid because I have so much going on right now. Anyway, but I mean, my point is these always on AIs, I think, are going to start to take the fore. And the small models are a part of that, right? So, I mean, again, for as cool as these Omni models will be, and honestly, I've been expecting an Omni model to show up on the scene for over a year now. I'm surprised it took this long. Finally, here it is. And that's part of it, but part of it is also the small model because you just can't send everything to the cloud always. We don't have enough bandwidth in the world, especially when it comes to vision, video, and stuff like that. Some of that stuff is going to have to run locally somehow, on device, on the camera, on the phone, or on the laptop. But ultimately, the aim will be to achieve this kind of an always-on Copilot. And I saw the first one actually already. So I was talking to, hey, Sammy, have you ever met the folks from Parloa before?
No, not yet.
So you should meet these folks, actually. They are based in Germany, and they're doing this contact center application. And what they have built is exactly what I would class an always-on Copilot for the contact center agent. So, they're not trying to you see a lot of these companies like Replicant that are trying to basically completely automate the contact center function. And that's challenging. I mean, honestly, think about it. Like if I call United Airlines, for example, whatever the problem is that I'm having with United Airlines is too complex for me to solve myself. Like I can't just do it through the app or through the web. Like the other day when I did call United Airlines, I had to do it because they had actually lost my ticket somehow. And boy, was the app confused, right? And I was going to be stranded in Washington, D.C. if I didn't resolve this. So, and it did take a skilled agent's intervention to solve that problem. Something really bad had happened to the system that day. So anyway, and to try to automate that now, because of the fact that, a lot of the calls are already deflected, to try to automate that completely is very, very challenging. So what Parloa, they're taking a different tack, and they basically are providing this always on Copilot so that when you're on a call, that this thing is constantly feeding you information while you're on the call. And furthermore, what's really interesting about it, actually, just as an aside, let's say you call me, right? So you, Sammy, you call me, and let's just say for the moment that you only speak Dutch, right? You don't speak English at all, which is rare among Dutch speakers, but let's just pretend for a moment, right? So you only speak Dutch. And you call me, and what you hear is not my voice. You actually hear one of our Azure platform voices speaking Dutch. So, and then I, as a contact center agent, so basically this Copilot is helping me, right? So you're talking to me, but you're talking to me in Dutch, but this thing is transcribing you in real time into English so I can understand what you're saying. And when I respond to you, I can respond to you in one of three ways. I can either, so it will automatically kind of come up with a response to send to you, right? It'll be like, hey, this is probably what you should say to this guy. And I can just click the thing on the screen and it will say that to you straight away in Dutch. Or I can type something in there in English and it will, again, say that to you in Dutch. Or I can say something and it will, on the fly, translate me and again say it to you in Dutch. And so basically the idea here is that I, as a contact center agent, can basically speak just any language. Whatever language you call me in, now it works. How about that? Even if I only speak English or I only speak Spanish or whatever.
Well, that was actually one of the demos we also showed during the presentation that we actually forgot to also discuss. That it was a conversation between Mira and I think it was Mark at that time. And
Yeah.
Mira was talking Italian,
Yeah.
and only Italian. And the prompt was like, I'm having a conversation with someone. That person speaks Italian. If they speak Italian, translate it to English. And if I speak, change it into Italian. So It was automatically changing the context and changing the voice to what was being said, which was also quite impressive as real-time translation.
Mm-hmm.
Sure. Yeah. Now that's an expensive way to do real-time translation. So yeah, that's maybe not that's not the optimal way to do real-time translation, although it is certainly one way. But it does demonstrate. I haven't seen that demo. I obviously haven't had a chance to go through them all.
Yeah.
But it demonstrates the native multilinguality of these models, of these frontier models, and what that can bring. So again, whether you compose it or whether you use it as an Omni model, the fact is you can achieve this now, and this is getting us to a future of an always-on AI.
Yeah.
Exactly. Well, I guess we're all looking forward to the next announcements that he will bring, or what Microsoft is going to announce of when this is going to be available for Azure OpenAI.
Stay tuned, man. Well, actually, if I'm not mistaken, even now you can start testing the GPT-O model in Azure OpenAI today. So we don't have immediate API access. We will be opening API access in the near future. But I believe today or tomorrow, you will be able to go into the AI Studio Playground and start using GPT-4o, at least in a test capacity. So not that different from what OpenAI itself is doing, in fact. And then in the near future, we will be opening up also that model in API form that you can deploy and use. So I mean, we are obviously fast tracking it. This is a big move in the world of AI, and we certainly want to be a part of that. And yeah, I mean, Build is coming next week. So of course, Microsoft Build is going to be in Seattle. Hope to see many of you who are watching this there. And oh my God, we have a million announcements. You would not believe what's happening with this stuff.
Well, and if you cannot join in Seattle, you can all watch also online, of course.
Yeah, we will be live streamed. The sessions will be on YouTube after the fact. So, one way or the other, you'll be able to catch a lot of these things. But there's a vast number of things going on. Everything from the platform level, the models, your choice of models, of course, as I said, 5.3 and the small models, to translation and cool stuff that we're doing, multilingual stuff, to AI agents, and where we're collectively going with AI agents, both with OpenAI assistants and with things like AutoGen, and then up into Copilot itself and how Copilot's going to improve. And I'll let the Copilot team announce their own stuff, but I tell you, they're not sitting still over there. I am on the fire hose of Microsoft Copilot emails, and I'm telling you, man alive, it's going to get better. And also, by the way, if y'all haven't seen it, I mean, this is a little bit quiet. GitHub Copilot Workspace. Check this out. Very interesting. I mean, now, as you see with, prior things like Devin, right? So the idea of applying agents to software engineering, and I think GitHub Copilot Workspace is taking that then in the right direction. It's kind of the extension of GitHub Copilot that is more like an agent that can provision an environment for you, and all of these kinds of things. And so, a lot of the pains that I have, even like setting up VS Code and stuff like that. Oh my God, setting up a new Python environment in VS Code is such a pain in the butt. Seriously. And so the idea that, it might be able to just spawn a container or a workspace or a VM or whatever it might be that has everything I need and it just works and it makes it work, I will take that. Please and thank you.
So we'll need to have a look at that. And Gabi, I think we will need to do a build recap also.
Absolutely,
Still, we can invite also in the call to show quickly what has been already will have been announced at that time.
Yes.
Marco, thank you very much for
one show with a build announcement. It's going to take you multiple shows to actually cover all the things that we're announcing at Build. It's just, I mean, and I'm sure there's even more that I don't even know about. Like it's such a big company and so many people are doing AI. Yeah. Oh my word. It's everywhere.
So. Yeah, just as Satya said himself, AI is everywhere.
Yeah, AI is everywhere.
Product, it is AI these days. So
yeah.
Okay. Marco, again, thank you very much for your time and coming into this episode so last minute. We really appreciate to have you on the call.
Yeah, lovely speaking to you, Marco.
Yeah, exactly. Great to talk to you, Sammy. I'll see you somewhere in the world.
Yeah. See you somewhere, Marco. Have a nice day.
Bye.
Well, I think that was an interesting conversation we also had with Marco. He gave us quite some insight of how Microsoft thinks about these announcements. And especially, I think that GPT-4o is already, or is tomorrow or something, going to be available already on Azure. So that's quite impressive. I think that's the first time that it's available so fast.
So quickly, Yes, I'm excited. I'm going to certainly...
That's breaking news that not one has brought out anywhere online yet, so that's cool.
Yeah, that is very cool. Yeah, I'm going to definitely test that out, Sammy. If not, right after this, I'm going to see whether it's available, and if not, tomorrow, first thing in the morning, I'm going to have a play.
Well, let me know how it went.
I will.
All right. Thank you very much all for watching. If you still have questions or ideas or things like, I want to learn more about that, don't just send us a message on Twitter, LinkedIn, or wherever. We're happy to share and figure out how things work, or to figure out when things are coming, if whatever platform is willing to share it, of course. You can always reach me on my Twitter handle @SammyDpress. Gabby,
And
yours?
yeah, I am Gavi_SR, I think, on Twitter or on LinkedIn as well. I'm easily searchable anyway. Yes.
So, Gabby, also thank you for joining me today.
It's a
Looking
pleasure.
forward to our next session. So, everyone, goodbye. Have a good evening, or still have a great day. Bye bye.
See ya.